Welcome back to Harlan Reports, the only place on the internet where the truth isn't just spoken, it's roared. I'm your host, Harlan, and tonight is different. I need you to lean in close. I need you to really listen, because what I'm about to tell you changes everything. We are live, and the world is watching.
Was first made a few years ago. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar tried to knock it down by calling it absurd. Then when the media turned up a wedding certificate, Omar went silent, refusing to make any comments at all, saying she does not talk about her family or personal life. Well, now others are talking, like Abdulhakim Osman, a prominent member of the Minneapolis Somali community, who is now on the record telling the Daily Mail that in 2009, Ilhan Omar married her biological brother, Ahmed Saeed Almi, so that he could legally remain in the U.S. and attend college. At the time, Omar was married to Ahmed Hersey, but it was a religious marriage, meaning there was no Minnesota state record stating that she and Hersey were husband and wife, and so marrying her brother would allow her sibling to get his legal immigration documents. But Mr. Osman isn't just saying that Omar married her biological brother. He also gave the Daily Mail the name of the Christian minister who married them. That minister reportedly says she does not want to be involved or interviewed about Congresswoman Omar.
Friends, we have been waiting for this night. We have prayed for it in our quiet moments, hoping that fairness and justice still means something in this beautiful country we call home. And let me tell you, the wait is over. The dam is broken, the silence has shattered. Tonight, we aren't just reporting news. We are witnessing history being written by the righteous hand of truth. It starts with a feeling I know you've all had. That heavy, sinking feeling in your chest when you see people in power get away with things you'd be punished for. You know what I mean? You work hard. You pay your bills. You follow the rules because that's what good Americans do. But for years, we've watched a double standard play out right in front of our faces. We watched as files gathered dust on desks in Washington. We watched as honest questions were laughed at or silenced. It hurt. It genuinely hurt to think that maybe, just maybe, the bad guys were going to win forever. But hold on to your hearts, because hope has just walked through the front door. We have received confirmation, explosive, undeniable confirmation, regarding the marriage of Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. For a long time, this was treated like a ghost story, something whispered about, but never proven. They told us we were crazy for asking questions. They told us it was mean-spirited to demand answers. But tonight, the fog has lifted. New evidence has emerged, and it's not just rumors anymore. We are talking about DNA proof, real science, the kind of proof that doesn't care about politics or feelings. It just cares about what is true. And this truth is heavy. It alleges that the man she married in 2009 wasn't just a stranger, he was her brother. I want you to sit with that for a second. Think about the betrayal. Think about the deception. This wasn't an accident. It was a choice. A choice to trick the system that millions of people respect and honor. And why? To allegedly commit immigration fraud, to skip the line, to cheat the very country that opened its arms to her. It makes you want to cry, doesn't it? Not out of anger, but out of a deep, aching sadness for the respect our laws deserve, but didn't get. It brings tears to my eyes thinking about every legal immigrant who stood in line for years, holding their paperwork, dreaming of becoming an American the right way. They did it with honor. And to think that someone might have just bypassed all that. It breaks your heart. But wipe those tears, patriots, because the story doesn't end in sadness. It ends in action. Reports are flooding in that the Trump Department of Justice is reopening the files. The files that were ignored, hidden, and forgotten by people like Christopher Wray are now back on the desk. And who put them there? Our president, Donald J. Trump. He saw the injustice, just like you did, and he said enough. This is the moment the tide turns. This is the moment we realize that no one is forgotten. Stay with me, because this journey is just beginning, and you deserve to hear every single part of it.
Genetic match, the DNA match to the man who was her second husband. They went to 3 continents. They found a cigarette butt and a drinking straw, which they sent it to a DNA laboratory and found conclusively that the DNA matched, that the second husband was a sibling, according to this DNA sample. So the very day that they were going to unleash this on the world, and in fact I was interviewing one of the people involved, the FBI swooped on the gentleman, Anton Lazaro, from this Republican PAC up in Minnesota, and arrested him on some different charges. Who knows whether he's guilty or not guilty. I mean, he's not guilty until proven, but he's in jail. And so his story never got to see the light of day. I mean, luckily he'd told the FBI they were not interested. They told him the statute of limitations had run out. We managed to see the website before he took it down, before he was arrested, and managed to report the story such as it was.
Folks, I want you to take a moment and just breathe. I know your heart is racing. Mine is too. It's racing because for so long we were told that what we saw with our own eyes wasn't real. But tonight, the truth is standing tall, and it is a beautiful, powerful thing. Let's talk about what this really means. Deep down, this isn't just about a piece of paper or a government form. This is about trust. When you welcome someone into your home, you expect them to respect your rules, don't you? You expect them to be honest. Now, imagine finding out that the person you invited in, the person you gave a seat at your dinner table, had lied about who they were just to get through the door. That is what happened here. The evidence we are seeing tonight alleges something that shakes the very foundation of what we believe in. It says that Ilhan Omar, a woman who sits in the people's house, married her own brother, not a stranger, her brother. Why? To game the system, to trick the United States of America? It brings tears to my eyes just saying it. Think about the sacred bond of family. Think about the sanctity of marriage. These are things we hold dear in this country. We treat them with respect. But this was a scheme. It was a cold, calculated move to use our laws against us. It feels like a slap in the face to every grandmother who prays for this country, to every soldier who fights for it, and to every parent teaching their kids right from wrong. And that is why this hurts so much. It's the betrayal. For years, while you were working hard, paying your taxes, and following every single rule, people in high places were laughing at us. They thought they were smarter than us. They thought they could get away with anything. They looked at our generosity, the American heart that loves to help people, and they took advantage of it. But President Trump, he never laughed at us. He never looked down on us. He looked at this situation. He looked at the evidence that was hidden away, and he felt that same pain you feel right now. He knew that a country without borders and without laws isn't a country at all. He knew that for America to be strong, we have to be honest. And seeing him stand up today, demanding justice for this fraud, it makes you realize how lucky we are. We finally have a dad in the White House who won't let anyone hurt his family. And folks, we are his family. Hold on tight, because as bad as this betrayal is, the story of how they tried to hide it is even worse. You need to hear who knew about this and did nothing. We need to talk about the silence. That deafening, crushing silence that hung over the story for years. It's the kind of silence that keeps you up at night, wondering if truth even matters anymore. You see, this wasn't just about one person allegedly breaking the law. It was about an entire machine working overtime to make sure you never found out. Imagine a small room in Washington, D.C. years ago. Files are stacked on a desk, files with marriage certificates, school records, sworn affidavits. The proof was there. It was staring them right in the face. But instead of acting, instead of protecting you, people in power, people like Christopher Wray, decided to look the other way. They took those files and shoved them into a dark drawer. They locked the truth away. Why? Because in their world, protecting the squad and their political friends was more important than protecting the American people. It makes you feel small, doesn't it? Like your voice didn't count. Like your vote didn't matter. They thought they could just erase reality. They thought that if they ignored it long enough, we would all just forget and move on. But they forgot one thing. They forgot about the American spirit. They forgot that we don't give up. And most importantly, they forgot that Donald Trump was watching. President Trump knew what was happening. He saw the swamp protecting its own. And while the media called him names and tried to silence him too, he kept fighting. He knew that this cover-up wasn't just about Ilhan Omar. It was about the integrity of our entire immigration system. If you can lie to the government to get your brother into the country and face no consequences, then what does that say to the soldier overseas fighting for our freedom? What does it say to the mom working 2 jobs to put food on the table? It says the system is rigged, and that realization hurts. It stings. It brings tears to your eyes because you love this country so much, and you hate seeing it abused. But let those tears fall, because tonight, they are tears of relief. The cover-up is over, the drawer has been opened, and the man who opened it is the only man brave enough to take them all on. Stay tuned, Because next, we're going to look at the specific evidence that they tried so hard to hide. I want you to close your eyes for a second. Imagine you're trying to hide a secret. You burn the papers, you delete the messages. You think you've scrubbed everything clean? That is what the other side thought they did. But truth is like water. It always finds a way through the cracks. And the cracks in the story were massive. Let's look at what we know, what the fake news refused to show you. We're talking about marriage records from Minnesota, dated February 12, 2009. That's a real piece of paper, folks. A legal document. It lists the names clearly. Ilhan Omar and Ahmed Noor Saeed Elmi. Now, here is where it gets chilling. Social media posts from that same time show them smiling, calling each other family, acting like brother and sister, because the evidence says that's exactly what they were. But then, things started disappearing. Photos vanished, profiles were scrubbed. It was like they were trying to erase a whole person from history. Why would you do that if you had nothing to hide? Honest people don't delete their past. Honest people don't panic when questions are asked. And it wasn't just photos. Community members, brave Somali folks who just wanted to do the right thing, came forward. They risked their safety to tell the truth. One leader said Omar admitted she'd do what she had to do to get him papers. Think about that phrase, do what she had to do. That isn't the language of love. That is the language of a scheme. It's the language of someone who thinks the rules are for other people, not for them. It makes my blood boil. And I know it makes yours boil too. Because while you were teaching your kids to be honest, while you were following the law even when it was hard, they were cutting corners. They were mocking our system. It feels like a punch to the gut, knowing that for years, this deception was allowed to stand in the halls of Congress. But don't let that anger turn to despair, because President Trump saw those cracks too. He saw the missing photos, the strange name changes, the undeniable DNA links. And he didn't blink. He didn't look away. He stood up for the truth, and he stood up for you. He is the champion we needed to finally expose what they tried so hard to destroy. Folks, I need to get personal for a minute. I want to talk about what fairness actually looks like in the real world, away from the TV cameras and the marble halls of Congress. I'm thinking about a friend of mine named Mateo. He came here legally years ago. He worked 2 jobs, one in a kitchen, one cleaning offices, just to save up for his citizenship fees. He studied history every night until his eyes were blurry. I was there the day he took his oath. I saw a grown man weep tears of pure joy because he finally belonged. He held that little American flag like it was made of gold. Now, hold that beautiful image in your mind, and then think about what we are hearing tonight about Ilhan Omar. If these reports are true, and the DNA evidence says they are, she didn't respect that flag. She didn't respect the struggle. She allegedly looked at the laws that men like Mateo treated as sacred, and she saw them as a joke. She saw them as obstacles to walk around. By marrying her brother, she didn't just break a rule. She broke the heart of every single person who did it the right way. It makes you sick to your stomach, doesn't it? It's that feeling of deep stinging injustice. It's like watching someone cut in line while you've been waiting in the rain for hours. Only they don't just cut in, they laugh at you for waiting. They think you're foolish for following the rules. That is the attitude we have been dealing with in Washington. They think they are special. They think the laws are for the little people, not for the elite. But here's the good news, and I want you to really hear this. President Trump is the great equalizer. He doesn't care about your title. He doesn't care if you sit in Congress. He cares about right and wrong. When he looks at this case, he doesn't just see a politician. He sees the insult to every Mateo, every Sarah, and every Mike in this country. He is stepping in like a protective father who sees his kids being bullied. He is saying, no more. By demanding action on this immigration fraud, he is telling the world that American citizenship isn't a cheap prize to be stolen. It is a treasure to be earned. And tonight, thanks to his courage, the value of that treasure is being restored. We are finally getting our dignity back. I want to take you back for a moment, not to a specific date, but to a feeling. Do you remember the frustration? The nights you sat in your living room, watching the news, screaming at the television, because it felt like the whole world had gone mad. You saw our cities changing. You saw rules being ignored. And worst of all, you saw people who loved this country being treated like strangers in their own land. We were told to be quiet. We were told our concerns were wrong, that we were intolerant for simply asking for fairness. It was a dark time, wasn't it? It felt lonely, like maybe the America we grew up in was slipping away like sand through our fingers. I know a lot of you cried tears of frustration back then. I know I did. You wondered, does anyone hear me? Does anyone care? That is why this news tonight is so overwhelming. It's not just about one politician getting caught. It's about you finally being heard. When the Trump DOJ opened those files, it was like they were unlocking a jail cell where the truth had been rotting. It was a message sent directly to you, the forgotten men and women of this country. It said, you were right, you weren't crazy, you weren't mean. And that validation, it hits you right in the chest. It brings tears to your eyes because it's been so long since we felt vindicated. It's the relief of finally being able to say, I told you so, but more than that, it's the comfort of knowing that justice is real. President Trump didn't just win an election, he won a war for our sanity. He looked at the forgotten Americans, the ones the media mocked, the ones the deep state ignored, and he said, I see you, I am fighting for you. This action against Ilhan Omar is proof of that promise kept. It's proof that in his America, your voice matters more than the powerful elites. It's a love letter to every patriot who never gave up hope, even when the night was at its darkest. So cry those tears, friends. Let them flow, because tonight they are tears of victory. Friends, I want you to feel the shift in the air tonight. Can you feel it? It's the feeling of a house finally being cleaned, after years of mess. For a long time, Washington, D.C. felt like a fortress where the elites hid from us. They locked the doors. They pulled the curtains. They laughed while they made deals that hurt our families. They thought they were untouchable. They thought the swamp was too deep to ever be drained. But they forgot one thing. They forgot that we have a lion in the White House. When President Trump gave the order to the DOJ to move on this case, to finally arrest and charge based on this explosive DNA evidence, he didn't just sign a paper, he roared. And that roar is shaking the ground beneath the feet of every single person who thought they could lie to the American people. Reports are coming in that the panic in the swamp is real. The phones are ringing off the hooks. The files that were hidden are now wide open on the desk, bathed in the light of justice. It makes me cry tears of pure joy to see it. Think about the peace of mind this brings. Tonight, when you tuck your kids into bed, you can tell them that the bad guys don't win in the end. You can tell them that lying doesn't pay. You can tell them that in America, truth is still the most powerful weapon we have. For years, we worried that we were leaving a broken country to our grandchildren. We worried that the cheaters would always run the show. But look at what is happening right now. The Department of Justice isn't sleeping tonight. They are working for you. They are ensuring that the laws meaningful to our safety are finally being enforced. This is what America First feels like. It feels like safety. It feels like a warm blanket on a cold night. It feels like a father protecting his home. President Trump is standing at the door, blocking the corruption, and saying, not in my house, not in my country. The relief is overwhelming, folks. Let it wash over you. The long nightmare of the double standard is ending, and a new day of glorious justice is breaking right before our eyes. Let's talk about what happens tomorrow, because when the sun comes up on January 1st, 2026, it's going to shine on a different America. For too long, we walked around with our heads down. We felt embarrassed. We saw our leaders bowing to foreign interests, apologizing for our greatness, and letting people mock our laws. It hurt your pride, didn't it? It felt like watching your childhood home fall apart while the neighbors laughed. But tonight, with this move by the Trump DOJ, the laughing has stopped. The world is looking at us differently right now. They see that America is back in charge. They see that we have a president who respects his own laws enough to enforce them. Think about the message this sends to every corrupt politician hiding in the shadows. They are shaking in their boots. They see Ilhan Omar, someone the media told us was untouchable, a star facing the music because of undeniable DNA proof, and they know they could be next. The days of special treatment are over. This is the cleaning you prayed for. It's like a fever breaking. You know that feeling when you've been sick for a long time, and suddenly you wake up and take a deep breath and the air feels clear? That is what justice feels like. It's fresh air. It's the realization that the rot is finally being cut out. And I know, many of you are crying right now. I can hear the sniffling in living rooms, from Florida to Montana. You're crying because you love this country so much, and you were so scared we were losing it. You were scared that the cheaters had won for good. But look at where we are. We aren't losing. We are reclaiming our dignity. President Trump promised to drain the swamp. People said it was just a slogan. They said it was impossible. But tonight, as the files open and the truth comes out, we are seeing a promise kept in real time. He didn't forget you. He didn't forget your vote. He took all the arrows, all the hate, all the attacks, just so he could stand here tonight and give you your country back. That is love, folks. That is true patriotism. And it's why we will never ever turn our backs on him. I want to ask you something important. When you think about the future, what do you see? For a long time, the view was cloudy. We worried about what we were leading for our kids. We worried if the America we knew, the one where fairness mattered, where hard work was rewarded, was fading away. But tonight, I want you to look again. Because of what is happening right now, the fog is lifting. This crackdown, this demand for truth about Ilhan Omar, isn't just about the past. It's about securing the future. It's about telling every child in this country that integrity is the only way forward. President Trump is building a legacy that isn't just about buildings or trade deals. It's about the soul of this nation. He is ensuring that when your grandchildren read history books, they will see that in 2025, the good guys stood up. They will read that we didn't let the darkness win. They will see that we fought for the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it was. And that thought, it's overwhelming. It fills your heart with a kind of pride that makes your chest tight. It makes you want to hug your neighbor. It makes you want to stand a little taller. Because we are part of this. You and me, we supported the man who is making this happen. We didn't waver. So let the tears come. Let them wash away the years of frustration. Because these aren't tears of sadness anymore. They are tears of relief. They are tears of gratitude. We are watching the dawn of a new golden age, where the rule of law is king, and the American people are finally, truly, put first. Hold on, because we have one last thing to say before we sign off tonight, and trust me, you're going to want to hear this. And here we are, at the end of this broadcast. But truly, it feels like the beginning of something new. I want you to look around your living room right now. Look at the faces of your family. Look at the flag hanging on your porch, or the picture of your dad in his uniform on the mantle. That is what we fought for. That is what President Trump fought for every single day. Tonight, we didn't just talk about a scandal or a court case. We talked about a promise. When Donald Trump raised his hand and took that oath, he promised to protect this country from enemies foreign and domestic. He promised that the law would mean something again. And tonight, as the DOJ moves to hold Ilhan Omar accountable, he has kept that promise. It makes you emotional, doesn't it? It gets you right here in the heart, to know that in a world full of broken words and empty speeches, we have a leader whose word is iron. To know that the forgotten men and women are forgotten no more. We aren't just voters to him, we are the heartbeat of this nation. So, dry those tears, patriots. Let your heart swell with pride. Tonight we can sleep soundly knowing the guard is at the gate. We sleep knowing that justice has returned to America. The storm has passed, and the sun is rising on a nation that is stronger, safer, and more honest than it has been in years. The bad guys are running scared, and the good guys are finally standing tall. Thank you for being here with me tonight. Thank you for never giving up on this country even when it was hard. And thank you for believing that we could make America great again. We did it, together. This is Harlan, signing off. But the fight for truth never sleeps, and neither do we. If you want to keep winning, if you want to stand with us as we uncover more truth every single day, hit that subscribe button right now, like this video so the whole world sees it. Join our family, because together we are unstoppable. God bless you, God bless President Trump, and God bless the United States of America. And here we are, at the end of this broadcast. But truly, it feels like the beginning of something new. I want you to look around your living room right now. Look at the faces of your family. Look at the flag hanging on your porch, or the picture of your dad in his uniform on the mantle. That is what we fought for. That is what President Trump fought for every single day. Tonight, we didn't just talk about a scandal or a court case. We talked about a promise. When Donald Trump raised his hand and took that oath, he promised to protect this country from enemies foreign and domestic. He promised that the law would mean something again. And tonight, as the DOJ moves to hold Ilhan Omar accountable, he has kept that promise. It makes you emotional, doesn't it? It gets you right here in the heart, to know that in a world full of broken words and empty speeches, we have a leader whose word is iron. To know that the forgotten men and women are forgotten no more. We aren't just voters to him, we are the heartbeat of this nation. So, dry those tears, patriots. Let your heart swell with pride. Tonight we can sleep soundly knowing the guard is at the gate. We sleep knowing that justice has returned to America. The storm has passed, and the sun is rising on a nation that is stronger, safer, and more honest than it has been in years. The bad guys are running scared, and the good guys are finally standing tall. Thank you for being here with me tonight. Thank you for never giving up on this country even when it was hard. And thank you for believing that we could make America great again. We did it, together. This is Harlan, signing off. But the fight for truth never sleeps, and neither do we. If you want to keep winning, If you want to stand with us as we uncover more truth every single day, hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video so the whole world sees it. Join our family, because together we are unstoppable. God bless you, God bless President Trump, and God bless the United States of America.